I'm sorry, I jumped the gun. Millie, you're ready, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
No, we're good.
Okay.
Okay. So,
All right. Go ahead.
great. So, welcome to the LSP board meeting. I'm calling this meeting to order at 12:08 p.m. And in addition to all of the board members, Craig, David, Deb, Gail, Greg, Jamie, Kirk, Millie, Patrick, we also have Beverly and Chris. Can we also learn who are the attendees?
Yes,
for today's meeting?
we have attendees. We have Krista Trapp, Heather Greenberg, Christy Lefer, Larry Feldman, and Michelle Paul.
Okay. Okay. So welcome. With regards to announcements, Beverly has already ensured that the LSP board webpage is updated with the notice to eligible candidates, basically noting that the LSP licensing exam will be offered on November 15, 16, November 17 at Mass DEP's offices here in 20 Riverside Drive, Lakeville. And so to that effect, Beverly has issued specific registration instructions to all the eligible applicants. And I'd like for Beverly to offer anything else that she wishes on this particular announcement.
Okay. Well, I might as well give the exam report, which is item number 12A on the board meeting agenda. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about the truncated agenda. There were no continuing ed courses submitted in time to make it to within the 14-day window. So this is why we were able to do the truncated meeting. So as Millie indicated, the exam is being hosted by Millie's office. It's in Spiro. We will have 3 days of exam on the 14th, 15th. I'm sorry, the 15th, 16th, and 17th. And we now have 18 applicants, counting the ones that were approved in the past couple of days. We expect everything to go forward as normal. I'm going out on Monday the 14th to do a check, and we'll be doing some testing with IT staff. So we are all set for the 2022 exam taking place over the course of 3 days. I'll talk more specifically about the numbers of examinees when I give the report under 5B and C.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Yes. So, yeah, we will certainly continue a dialogue on that topic if more information needs to be had. I also have 2 additional items that I wanted to announce. First, I wanted to share with the entire board, Beverly, Chris, and others that on October 20th, 2022, just this past month, I ascended as president of it's a national association of solid waste management officials at SWAMO. And for LSPs that actually participate at SWAMO items, meetings, as well as NUMOA, this is basically a national environmental association charged with enhancing and promoting national policies for all state land programs. So whether it's 21E like programs, brownfields, solid waste, recycling, USTs, hazardous waste, all those programs. So this responsibility will require my rebalancing my existing workload, but I just wanted to let everybody know that. And in connection with that, I've spoken also with Beverly, and as you all know, I was appointed as the board chairperson by Commissioner Suberg on August 14, 2019. today is election day and we will have a new governor. We will see what this means for my continued appointment, but I'm continuing to support this very important board. But it is usual and customary, and it's happened in the past with change in leadership. We will just have to wait and see. But again, my energy and effort and dedication to the board will remain unless I'm told with a change of administration otherwise. But I just want to ensure that everyone knows that this is one of those consequences with the change in leadership. And I just want to make sure that, again, to the best of my abilities, I can continue supporting this board and supporting our executive director, Beverly, and the importance of the work that it's done here. So I just wanted to mention that.
Well, Millie, congratulations on your appointment. And I'll just piggyback on your comments. None of us knows what's going to happen when the new administration takes over in January, because we know there will be a new administration no matter who's elected. And so that stands for my appointment as well. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens in January. You know, the Secretariat is very important. The agency, DEP, and the LSP board are very important. So there may be top-down changes in the administration. So again, you know, we'll see what develops.
Absolutely. And I just want to say thank you so much, Beverly, and the entire board, and Chris, for the opportunity to serve as your chair. And again, this is something that I feel very passionate about. The 2020 program, that's my baby. That's where I started. And I really believe that together, DEP, the LSP board, and the association together, we do the best we can to move forward the practice, which is really, again, first in the nation privatized program. So everyone should be very proud and really come together as it pertains to advancing the practice. So thank you very much for the honor of serving as your chair. So with that, does anyone have any additional announcements to share with the board members or members of the public? If you have any additional comments, I don't know if anyone has comments, or Chris, if you can track any comments from our guests today. Hearing none, let's move on to the agenda. Item number 3, basically additions, deletions. I do not have any changes to the agenda, and I'm wondering if anyone has any changes that you'd like to bring forth. So hearing none, the agenda is adopted as our final working meeting agenda. And why don't we just go to item number 4, virtual meeting minutes. Beverly, if you could be so kind to provide us with an update on this particular item.
The minutes are always going to be on the website in the form that they're recorded here. So
okay,
they're there.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Okay,
You're welcome.
so fantastic. So we're going to move to item number 5, decisions regarding licensing of applicants. The board members were provided with 4 renewal dockets for discussion and voting. The first docket that we have in front of us, docket number 1, consists of 12 LSPs who have all completed the requirements for licensing and now have a new renewal date of October 30, 2025. If there are no questions or comments, I move to approve docket number 1. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. So the motion has been moved and seconded. Let's go through the roster, and those in favor, please say yes when I call your name. Craig? Craig? Craig, are you muted?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you.
Sorry.
David,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Millie is a yes. Patrick?
Yes.
Okay, so motion carries to approve docket number 1.
Millie, Kathy Campbell is on. I'm a yes.
Hey, Kathy, thank
Hello.
you. So motion carries, we approve docket number 1. Number 2 is consists of one LSP who has completed her requirements within the 90-day extension that was granted by the board and whose license will now have a new renewal date of July 30, 2025. If there are no questions or comments, I move to approve docket number 2. And do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. So the motion has been moved and seconded. Let's go through the roster. Those in favor, please say yes when I call your name. Craig,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Millie is a yes. Patrick,
Yes.
and Kathy.
Yes.
Thank you. So the motion carries. We approve hereby docket number 2. Docket number 3 consists of one LSP who has completed his requirements within the 1-year extension that was granted by the board and whose license will now have a new renewal date of January 26, 2026. If there are no questions or comments, I
Wait,
move to approve docket number 3. And do I have a second?
can I just ask a question?
Of
Why is it 2026? That would be 4 years.
Where are we? Are we talking about Mr. Patton?
Yeah, I
Yes.
just want to make sure it's
Yes.
correct that it says January
Yeah,
30th, 2026.
yeah, but he was out for a year. And so he completed the requirements within a 1-year date, and that changed his
Original
Uh,
renewal date.
exactly. I'm sorry, that changed his renewal date because he was originally due in actually that should be July, I think of
Or July, right? And it should be
Yes.
2025.
yes. No, wait a minute. I think he. Let me just check the email because I believe that he was due in 2021. Let me check.
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead, Millie, and call for the vote on docket number 4, and I will check on Mr. Patton.
Thank you. So we are talking now about renewal docket number 4. One LSP who requested a 90-day extension. And if granted, then he would have a new renewal date of January 28, 2023.
Is that
Any
correct?
questions?
Yeah, is that correct?
So you've
Because that's
got,
coming up. That's 2 months from now. And he just finished the requirements. So shouldn't it be 2025?
It's a 90-day extension. They're asking for a 90-day
No,
extension.
90-day extension.
Okay, but even then,
so
Oh, so-
January 2023 would be 90 days from the original renewal date.
but he
Right.
completed, when did he complete them? Before October 30th?
He's
We're on docket
requesting
4.
it. He's requesting a
Oh,
90-day
sorry, I'm
extension.
sorry. I'm not paying attention. I see the have requested.
Yeah, you're looking at that Connecticut. I make a motion to approve docket number 4.
Second.
Do we have a second?
Second,
Okay, so let's go through the roster. Craig,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Gail,
yes,
Greg,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Kirk?
Yes.
Millie is a yes. Patrick?
Yes.
And Kathy?
Yes.
Okay, so motion carries and we hereby approve docket number 4.
Right. Let's keep going. I'm still digging for the email about Mr. Patton.
Okay.
So I'm going to, forgive me, do a couple of things at once and look for this one. Let me put this off, and sorry, I'm not pulling up the email right away, but I'm going to give the other report and come back.
Okay.
Oh yeah, here it is. I'm still going to give the other, I found the email, but I'll give the other reports to keep us moving along. And please remind me that we have to go back to docket number 3. Okay, so I'm going to give the report on the ARPs that were just reviewed. I will give the report on ARP 329, Mr. Andrew Pandolf. The review took place yesterday, November 7th, 2022. The panelists were Deb Listernick, Paul McKinley, and Patrick Heron. And what they found with respect to Mr. Pandolf was it was a reapplication. And Ms. Listernick commented that in the 3.5 years since the initial application was filed by Mr. Pandolf, he had gained the additional RPE, relevant professional experience that was required. She noted that he has completed many different projects, broad range of MCP experience. He has written a lot of different reports, different phases, and worked with a lot of different contaminants. In some, the ARP found that Mr. Pandolf had worked on projects of all different types. There was one issue that the panel members raised regarding Mr. Pandolf's application, and that was that he repeated, excuse me, certain language throughout his application. And one of the panel members found that it was harder to tease out his relevant professional experience, which, of course, the ARP was looking for. And if the panel has any further comments, they can chime in now. Okay, hearing none, Mr. Pandolf's application was approved. Moving on to Mr. Brian Thierolt's application. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He was also part of ARP 329, which met yesterday, November 7th. Again, the panel members were Deb Listernick, Paul McKinley, and Patrick Heron. Excuse me. Ms. Listernick noted that the applicant was a specialist in remediation a specialist in remediation engineering. And he didn't have a lot of experience writing MCP reports. So the panel looked very carefully because it was a non-traditional application in their view because of the applicant's very narrowly focused experience. And he was focused primarily, according to the panelists, on one element of what LSPs do. Ms. Listernick commented that this application was comparable to a lot of out-of-state applicants who are allowed to sit for the exam without a lot of MCP experience. And she specifically noted that the applicant, 3 of the 5 projects that the applicant presented were Massachusetts applications. But in the end, and the panel also was very careful in terms of looking at this application because they were on the fence, and so they reviewed the regs with respect to relevant professional experience, technical professional experience, and principal decision-making experience. In the end, they looked specifically at Form 2 at page 12 for the principal decision-making experience, and both applications were approved. And I don't know if the panel has any other comments.
Yeah, I'd
Okay.
actually like to ask a question if I could, about because it gets to that relevant professional experience. Like, was it just task? Was the person just doing the task of remediation engineering, or did they have responsibility for the whole project?
Responsibility for the whole remediation part of the project.
But not the responsibility for compliance with the regulations or anything like that.
Well, is it pertain to like phase 3, phase 4 of the MCP?
So,
The LTE says you have to have, one or more of the components of site assessment, risk characterization,
right,
remediation.
that part I'm not concerned with. It was more the overall responsibility for making decisions on a project as a whole, because that's what LSPs do. They don't, I mean, it's like, was there any evidence that the person actually made the decisions for the whole project, which is this bigger, more encompassing thing than just like designing or implementing a remediation thing?
Well, I think that one of the things that the panel discussed was that the applicant did have some experience with managing a project with respect to budget and managing people and
Okay.
dealing with clients.
Yeah, that
So
was what I was getting at.
Okay, well, they did, look at that, and Deb in particular noted that the applicant demonstrated that he had experience with other phases of managing a project, specifically budget, managing people, and dealing with clients.
Okay.
Okay. Other comments? All right, Millie, the board needs to vote on the recommendations of ARP 329.
Yes, thank you.
We didn't vote on, okay, don't we vote on the individuals, or can we do it as a group because they were together? Is that it? I
Well,
thought we voted on individuals.
I think we were voting on the recommendations of the panel. We can do both.
Okay, all right.
So I hear a motion and I'm seconding that motion. Why don't we then go through the roster, and a yes is to basically in favor of the motion. So Craig,
Yes.
David,
Yes.
Deb,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes,
Greg,
Yes.
Jamie,
Yes.
Kirk,
Yes.
Millie is a yes, Patrick,
Yes.
and Kathy.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion carries. Okay. Thank you,
All right.
Beverly. So now we're moving
Thank
on.
you.
If you could kindly take care of items 6 through 12 as noted on the meeting agenda. Much appreciated.
Well, we
no, we
have
still have one
ARP,
more panel.
we have one more panel. It is ARP 330, Emily Straley. The ARP met on November 1st, 2022. The panel consisted of Kathy Campbell, Craig Ellis, and Patrick Heron. They noted that the applicant in the positions described was the principal decision maker. She had experience with a lot of granular activities, according to Mr. Heron, in terms of investigation, communications, budget, remediation. He cited, Mr. Heron did, that projects 3, 4, and 5 were very compelling. And additionally, all of the panelists agreed that Ms. Straley had, pardon me, a broad range of experience with respect to planning, and she had very strong references. Ms. Campbell in particular noted that Ms. Straley was a very strong candidate. She agreed with the other members of the panel, and she said that this was a well-written application that clearly showed the entire arc of Ms. Straley's career. The panel accordingly recommended that Ms. Straley be permitted to sit for the LSP exam.
Thank you. Do we have any comments from the other ARP members? Hearing none, the motion is in front of us to allow Ms. Straley to sit on the exam. Second?
Second.
Okay, so let's go through the roster. A yes is in favor of the motion. Craig?
Yes.
David?
Yes.
Deb?
I had recused myself.
Okay. Gail?
Yes.
Greg?
Yes.
Jamie?
Yes.
Kirk?
Yes.
Millie is a yes. Patrick?
Yes.
And Kathy?
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you.
All
Have
right.
the three applicants been notified of the decisions?
They, yes, they were notified even as to yesterday at 6:58 p.m. David, they were notified that their applications had been tentatively, had been approved by the panel, that they were tentatively able to sit for the exam because I wanted them to be able to prepare themselves. And so they knew that they're waiting for the board vote before they send the check. So they were able to select one of the days. I think that the 17th is full. I have to check and see how it's going to be reorganized now. But yes, they've been notified and they will be given a final notification this afternoon.
Thank you very much to the ARP and Beverly for making this happen for these individuals that are really anxious to take this test. So thank you again.
You're welcome. I just wanted to back up, if we could, to Mr. Patton. What I have here indicates that Mr. Patton's LSP license expired on July 30th, 2022. And so now I'm pulling up the docket. So if his license expired in 2022, the date should be July 2025.
Right.
Because I don't think he had a 90-day extension. So if the board would vote on his license, Mr. Patton's license, given the change in expiration date.
So it
So
would
this
be
is
Which,
the
20,
one where,
it's July 2025?
yes, it should be July 30th, 2025. I don't know why that's there, but it should be July, 3 years. If his license expired on July 30th, 3 years from July 30th is July 30th, 2025, right?
Right.
so Beverly, question, it states here completed the requirements within the 1 year. So I guess,
Right.
yeah, he had
Yeah, I'm
needed-
gonna have to, yep, within 1 year. So either I'm looking at Mr. Patton's email. So either Mr. Patton is wrong or our office is wrong. Because Mr. Patton has indicated that his license expired on July 30th. Actually, he says the 31st, but I'm just correcting it and saying July 30th. So I have to look and see whether or not it expired on July 21st, which would then make he's coming back in within the 1 year. And that changes everything because your renewal date changes. If you come back within the 1 year, you get the date that is closest to your renewal date, not the date when your license actually expired. So
So that would
wouldn't that
actually be
If
October.
anything, it would be October would be the closest if he's completed it.
yeah, well, October of 2025.
Right.
Right.
So let me keep digging. I'm going to keep giving reports, and I'll dig up more information on Mr. Patton, because I do remember something about him having been out for a year, almost a year. Let me continue to check, and we can move forward with the agenda.
Okay.
Nellie, if you want to call the next item, I'll continue
Yeah,
to check on
sure.
Mr. Patton's license.
Of course. So our next agenda item speaks to noting the total number of active LSPs.
Sure.
And,
All right. So, okay, I'm sorry, Nellie, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, we're good.
Okay. There are 448 active LSPs as of the date indicated, and one inactive, LSP. For January 2022, there are still 4 LSPs who have not paid their renewal or submitted a renewal application. For April of 2022, there are 2 LSPs who have not paid their fee or filed their application. For July of 2022, there are 5 LSPs who have failed to either pay the fee or file a renewal application. And for the renewal period that just passed, October 30th, 2022, there's 1 LSP who has not yet paid their fee. There are 6 LSPs who have not paid the 2022 annual fee. Take questions about any of those numbers.
Yeah, Beverly, you just said 2022, but what the agenda says is 2021. Which do you mean? You mean 2022? That's correct, right?
Well, no, there are a couple of things on there. So for the 2022 annual fee, there are 6 LSPs who still have not paid that annual fee.
Right, but
the 2020, yep, the 2021, I may have made a mistake. That is regarding Saskia Oosting. If you recall, she last month, there was a petition that she had filed that had not been reviewed by the board. And so that's the item number that I was referring to. It was Saskia Oosting, and I just wanted to make sure after the board reviewed her petition that there was nothing left undone with respect to her license.
Before we go there, with all these unpaid fees that you just mentioned, are there any of this group that are coming up on the date at which they would be revoked?
Oh yeah, the annual fees, their licenses, those 6, their licenses have been revoked. They've received the required 2 notices under 2.09. And so I have to check and see if their revocation letters went out. but they received the 2 regulatory required notices about the suspension and then the revocation of their license by certified mail. Other questions about?
Well, my only comment is we really try to emphasize the importance of LSPs to stay on top of a payment. And I don't know what else can be done. But again, you know, every month we talk about this as a standing agenda item. We continue to bring forth the accounting and clarity and transparency on this topic. So anything that could be done, anything additional that could be done, we clearly want to support the LSPs, but they, you know, we all need to support, just be mindful of these, the importance of paying, you know, your renewal fee, your annual fee. Just again, just spreading the word and trying to better understand the trending.
I would like to add too, notifying the board of retirement.
Absolutely. We're all in this together. So we need information. The information flow has to be both ways.
Right. And as to respond to Deb's comment about retirement, all they have to do is email us. And I respond to them saying there's nothing further you need to do, and your license will be listed on the website as lapsed, which is the language we use because we don't have a mechanism for retirement. So, okay. Any other questions? Any comment on that Saskia Oosting petition? Okay.
Thank you, Beverly. I think that brings us to, if you need to further on item 12A, which is the 2022 LSP licensing exam.
No, there's nothing I have to add. We're going forward. We've got 3 days, but it's going to bleed over into something else, and I'll talk about that when we get to that item number. But nope, I have nothing else to add on 12A.
Great. So if you don't mind just wrapping up with 12B, C, and D.
Okay, and then we'll go back to Mr. Patton because I've done a little more research while we were talking. Excuse me. So personnel budget and fees. I've made some progress. I have made an offer to a person for the program coordinator position, and so we're going to have to try and thread that needle so that it allows Barbara Weiss to transition out and the new applicant to transition in. I don't have a start date for that applicant. I'm sorry, I don't have a start date for that applicant yet, but the program coordinator position, the applicant accepted our offer. So we're looking to get her on board as quickly as we can. This week, I am interviewing investigators / continuing ed applicants. I have, I believe, 5 interviews this week. So we may have a continuing ed / continuing ed / investigator on staff by the new year.
Beverly, I have a question as to whether the coordinator position is full or half-time, because I know Barbara was half-time, but is this a full-time position?
Well, Barbara was full half-time because she had another job and was volunteering to work with the board.
So it is a full-time position.
It is a full-time position.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yep, it's a full-time position. And hopefully that person, again, will be able to transition in, and because she will have to be trained. So that'll
Well, that's great
happen.
news, Beverly.
Yep. But the problem for me is that she's coming on full time, but she's replacing someone who's already there. What we need are to get bodies in the chairs that are totally empty. And so that's the work of the 5 interviews this week. So hopefully we'll come up with something. And then the next, I'll immediately start interviewing for the general counsel position after that. Any other questions on item 12B? I can move on then to 12A, which is the online fee payment. As you know, we've been meeting about the online fee payments, and our last meeting, sorry, I need just a second here. Our last meeting was on November 3rd, 2022, and we've made real progress. We've finished where we need to be right now. So I want to tell you some of the features that are going to be available and then give you some probable dates for opening. People will be able to, LSPs will be able to renew their licenses online. We're adding a feature to trigger them 60 days before the 30th when their licenses will expire, because I think, that would be a nice feature if we can build it in to give them a heads up that their licenses are going to expire in 60 days. LSPs will be able to change their address, which is a feature allowing them to amend or modify their email, their address, their employer, or their phone number. We are talking about next steps in the process, and what that means is meeting with revenue to see how it functions. We're expanding out now with Barbara Weish. Again, this is why the transition is going to be so important, because Barbara has to explain to the IT team how the systems work, how we interact with revenue. We're looking to schedule to further complicate Chris Borges's calendar with a half-hour meeting about how EDEP intersects with the LSP board, because we have to have all these systems obviously running in conjunction with one another. Excuse me. So after those meetings, with the others involved, other individuals involved with the process, we will start with the final steps. They're going to, the IT team is going to go off and build up the system that we have gone through in all these meetings, and then we'll come back for a demo. We'll test the applications, and then we'll be trained. And so I'm hoping that this thing is going to be, online fee payments will be in place for the annual fees and the January renewals. I'm not making any promises, but I'm hoping that we're going to have everything in place in time for that. And so I'm going to move on unless there are any questions about online fee payments. I'm
No, just
hoping
a
we'll also
comment.
be,
That was very, very helpful. Thank you.
Yep. I'm hoping that we'll maybe have a demonstration for the board. I can't promise, but I'd like for the board to see how it functions. So before it gets up and running, which will definitely be in January or February of 2023, I'd like to do a live demo at one of the 2023 board meetings. So That's that. Now, with respect to item 12D, which is impacting everything else, the office relocation is such a problem. So we ended up with 120 boxes of LSP files. Right now, we have less than 12 days to be out of the building. There is no allotted space for the LSP board at 100 Cambridge Street yet. So I don't have a phone or an office address. There's going to be this transition from Barbara to the new hire for the program coordinator. I don't have a spreadsheet to know what is, so I don't know what's in those 120 boxes and where they are or where they're going. So I don't know what's going to happen. All right, I really don't know what's going to happen with the board because, like I said, we have less than 12 days to vacate the building. So that's going to disrupt things. I mean, we have continuing ed courses that are in queue for January. There are the renewals, the annual fees, but I don't know what's going to happen. Any questions about that?
In the event that we get some information between now and 12 days, Beverly, feeling like we need to at least give some direction to anybody that needs to contact the board. I mean, we will continue to have the emails.
Yeah, I'll have email. But again, this transition from Barbara to the new staff person, the new staff person is going to have a phone and a laptop and a space to work, because where are LSPs going to send their mail? Where will the person who was granted a 90-day extension send their mail?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm working with the Secretariat on all of this, but I can't do anything about that. So the best I can hope for is that they'll get me some answers, and I'll be able to post this information on the website. I will notify the board members. We no longer have a listserv of LSPs. We at one time, you'll remember, Barbara had put together a listserv that'll be a priority for the new in the new year, but I don't have a listserv to notify all of the LSPs, so we'll just have to spread the word. But right now, I can't even print up letterhead. I don't know where to tell people to send mail. We're going to be doing everything by email, and it'll be probably down to just me until we get the new program coordinator up and running.
Okay. Well,
so things are going to get worse before they get better.
Okay. Well, I'm hoping that at least we have Barbara's support until that person is fully onboarded, considering that the person doesn't have a salary assigned, or there's still a little bit of administrative steps to get that person actually virtually seated at least. But we will stay in touch and look forward to any reports regarding progress and any support as it pertains to this very important endeavor with the office relocation.
I mean, you know, it's just, I need a desk. I need access to the files. I need information on where we're going and how to tell LSPs. And we also have LSPs who do drop-off. So, I mean, how's that going to work? We need a physical space. So, yeah, Millie, as soon as I know something, of course, I will notify all the board members, and we'll put this on the website. I would like somebody to put together a listserv if that's possible, so that we can email all of the LSPs, because we have 448 people who need 449 rather who need to know where to send documents and how to reach us. And so for a while, it's going to be just me on staff until we get the new person on board and get her a laptop and a phone number and an email address. So like I said, things are going to get a little more difficult before they get better, but they will get better. Other questions? Okay, I wanted to, if I could, Millie, is it okay to go back to Mr. Patton's?
Yes.
Okay, so what I have found is I'm going to have to look at Mr. Patton's application for renewal, because all the information has been changed on the website. So his new expiration date is January 30th, 2026. I have written a note to myself to dig into that more deeply to find out exactly what's going on. In the interim, his application was provisionally approved under 306.6 B7. So it was administratively provisionally approved, and I will find out before his certificate goes out, so that he will likely be on the docket at the next board meeting. But for right now, we'll leave his expiration date at 2026 and table a final vote until I can come up with more specific information for the board to actually have accurate information to vote on.
Okay. So do we need a board vote to basically support the motion of tabling this, or is this just something that administratively can move forward without any vote?
It can administratively move forward because we have provisionally approved his application to renew. We just got to settle on what his actual expiration date is, and the board will vote on that at the next meeting. But he's fine for right now. We'll allow him to file things, but we won't issue a certificate until the board has voted at the next board meeting when I present accurate dates.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much. So that brings us to the conclusion of this meeting. The board will resume business in January 2023. Again, with a future date scheduled for January 10, 2023. And I wish you all a very happy holiday season. And especially, I want to thank Beverly and Barbara, Chris, and all of the hardworking board members for your diligent work during 2022. And despite all of the challenges with COVID and everything, I just want to say thank you very much for your commitment. So with that, this meeting is adjourned at 1:02 p.m. And thank you.
Thanks, everyone. See you next year.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Feel better, Chris. Feel better, Chris.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.
We'll see you all. Bye-bye.